Welcome back to the Blue Collar Trade Show, where real people share real stories about building, fixing, leading, and living with purpose. I'm Troy, and I'm here with the crew, Chad, Jim, Marissa. Each week we dig into lessons, have laughs, and hard-won wisdom from the folks who keep America running. Let's get into it. All right, so welcome to the Blue Collar Trade Show, everybody. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Kelly Wunsch. Woo, Kelly! Come on, everybody.
Welcome, Kelly.
All right, so I'm going to start like this. I don't know. Kelly and I have known each other for quite a while. A third of my life, honestly, almost, or even more. It's kind of a while. All right, so let me see if I could summarize this real quick for these three. It has been a while, right? So Kelly was born in the Houston area. Stop me where I get this wrong.
No, you get it right. Right.
Young lad. He has one brother who's very tall, even taller than me, if anybody can imagine that. Right today, not then, but today. Yes, Kelly grew up in a blue collar house. So your dad was in metal fabricating, welding, things like that.
No, actually, no. He was. He
built like a pipe bomb, right, at work. Remember that story? Not a pipe bomb, but a cannon.
No, he built it. He built a cannon at work. Yeah, he built a cannon that shoots frozen concentrate cans, which was a really bad idea.
No,
but
we've talked about this. It was actually a really good idea. We weren't there. That's the problem.
Yeah, he ended up managing a sales and service division of Union Pump Company, which was it's been bought and changed names a bunch of times, but they do industrial pumps for the petroleum industry.
Okay.
So, his office was right outside the machine shop, and we had a lot of cool things around the house that he had the machine guys do for us.
And you've picked that up because I know you still do stuff like that in your shop. All right. So then you grew up to be a young left-handed lad that could hurl a ball. Right. And anybody that knows baseball knows if you can throw a ball somewhat even remotely straight, you should be a pitcher. Right. So that worked out pretty good for you in high school, and then went to play at Texas A&M, the Aggies. Show us the sign.
The sign?
What do the Aggies do?
Do you want this or do you want this? What do we want to do?
Whatever's appropriate.
Yeah, both of them.
Okay.
Gig 'em, whoop, all that good stuff.
I remember I drank beer. The reason I live in Texas today is because I had so much fun drinking beer with Aggies down on the beach in South Padre Island. So
there you go.
Nice. Who do you not have fun drinking with on South Padre?
That's true.
Yeah.
And we might have crossed paths. I don't know. But anyway, so then that went so well. You played in the College World Series. Tell us about that.
Golly, man, we're
not the World Series. We were in the World Series in Omaha. You were there.
We were in the College World Series in Omaha. This was in '93. We actually came in as the number one seed, won our first game, and were winning our second game against LSU. Absolutely beating the snot out of them, and then late in the game, started getting tired. Got knocked out of the game, brought in our sort of setup guy to get us to the last inning, and he proceeded to just get absolutely shellacked. Somehow we managed to end up losing it. I think the score was close to 20 by the time it was all over with, on a walk-off home run or a grand slam by Todd Walker. So that was our second game.
Todd
the
Walker
third game
for the Minnesota Twins for a minute.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah, for a hot minute. Yeah, he's still broadcasting on ESPN. I ran into him at the College World Series last year. In fact,
cool. Jim goes to Omaha all the time. He always goes. They're not playing baseball.
He just goes up to
the only
Omaha.
problem is I've never been able to go in May when I want to go. Never been able to go to the College World Series. But now they're not.
I think he has a
Rosenblatt anymore.
I don't know.
So it doesn't matter. Ever since they moved from Rosenblatt, I don't know if I want to go. I mean,
yeah, he keeps parking his car out in front of Warren Buffett's house. So
that new place is pretty nice. That was the first time I was there. It was last year, and it's year before last. It's pretty sweet. I mean, it's nothing like the old Rosenblatt, but,
right? Yeah, Just the tradition.
Times they change.
All right. So the World Series, Omaha didn't go exactly as planned, but it was
we ended up losing it. I pitched the third game. We got, I don't know, all of a sudden our bats went completely quiet. We kicked the ball around a little bit. We lost against Long Beach State.
Palm Beach State.
Yeah,
you lost to
Long Beach.
Long
Beach.
Yeah,
that's even worse.
Dirt bags. and then they
by Chad.
not just. What's that?
That's where Chad.
Like Chad.
Yeah.
Anyway, LSU ended up winning the World Series, so at least.
Okay, but it worked out all right because the Chicago White Sox it was the Brewers, right? They said, "Hey, look at this guy."
Yeah. They drafted me out of college. I was a first-round draft pick with the Brewers, and then proceeded to spin my wheels and find every single way to do things the wrong way in the minor leagues, and spent 6 years. 6 years in the minor leagues with the Brewers, and was non-tendered, became a minor league free agent, and then signed with the White Sox the very next day, and then made the big league team out of spring training camp the very next spring training. So it was all the Brewers' fault. Totally.
All right. So before we get into the major league, which is awesome, right? Is tell it when you talk about baseball, you actually talk to me anyway. You tell more stories about the minor leagues than the major leagues, and it's because of the the lifestyle that minor leaguers have. I don't think anybody really truly appreciates. It's pretty cool, and very sad.
Well, yeah, that's why Bull Durham was about the minor leagues and not about the major leagues.
Right.
There's way cooler. I mean, it's like how interesting is it to hear about, like, getting the white glove treatment in the big leagues. I mean, everybody can kind of at least picture what that looks like in real life. But minor league is full of just guys being stupid. Growing up, a bunch of adolescent. I mean, we're talking about kids that are straight out of high school, who are thrown in with guys. Yeah. So guys that are straight out of high school, thrown in the mix with guys that are either straight out of college or maybe even been out of college for a few years. So there's a lot of bad mentorship. There's just a lot of wheels coming off here and there, and it's amazing. Anybody spends any real length of time in the minor leagues and manages to make it all the way to the big leagues. There's a lot of personality problems that end up coming out of the minor leagues.
Well, then Kelly, you also, on the flip side of that, you hear about these guys that spend 25 years in the minor leagues, and it's like they must be a mental wreck after all that time in the minor leagues.
It's because they pay so well.
At least they're making $60,000 a year, So.
Yeah, no, I don't think you'll find anybody that's been there that long actually as a player. Now, there certainly have been 10-year players who, you see them floating around from team to team, and you just go, "What the hell are you doing, man?" This is not that fun. Right. Thank you. Yeah. You're riding chartered buses around, to all these crappy little towns. Well, they're getting nicer and nicer, but staying in crappy hotels, eating crappy food in the clubhouses. You're away from your friends and family for 9-10 months a year. It's not a lifestyle for somebody who is anything remotely equivalent to, or like has that nesting sort of gene. If you're just a rolling stone and can't stand being in the same place.
A lot of guys that come out of college and
nesting. That's not the right way to put it. You know what I mean? People like to. People that just like to kind of have their place and have their stuff. But
sounds like just
people in the Navy rolling all over the country. What's that?
Sounds like I was in the Navy 21 years. And you got guys in the Navy that just love being on a ship. They love traveling. They love being away. Just, kind of the same.
Yeah. And then they roll right into, they eventually get released and they go right into coaching in the minor leagues, and they, just jump right back on the same buses, go right back in the same little hotels. And, at some point you're like, man, you must hate your wife and your kids. It's like, just find any excuse to be away.
Yeah.
What's that?
They don't know where they are sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's arrested development. There's, like I said, there's all kinds of, behavioral and personality issues that, that kind of lead to the lifer syndrome, but it is what it is.
Okay, so you go through the minors, you get to hang out with a bunch of dumbasses, which is pretty fun in and of itself. But you want to grow up, and the whole point of being there is to go to the big stage, right? To go play in the majors. And so talk about. I don't know if I ever even asked you this question, right? But talk about that first time you walked onto a Major League Baseball field with the crowd and going out to the mound. I mean, running in from the bullpen, or were you a starter? Or what was your first game? Tell us about that.
It was,
and then tell us how it went. Yeah.
Pretty sure it was April 4th. It was April 4th or April 6th in Arlington. It was obviously the first series of the season. We started out away. This was against the White Sox. And opening day, so packed house. It was the middle of the week, but it was packed house. Everybody took off work and immediately started getting plowed at the stadium. And so our bullpen was in the it's kind of notched into the left center field bleacher area. And we immediately, our starting pitcher just started getting knocked around almost instantly. And one of the veterans in the bullpen leaned over and says, "Wunsch, dude, you're getting in today." And immediately, I just start having like panic attack.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out the whole time. And sure enough, an inning or two later, they called down the bullpen, said, "Get Wunsch up." And of course, then
they got the little phone, right? They got the bat phone from the dugout to the bullpen.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And, yep. Exactly like you see on TV. So, they pick up the phone. Yeah, get Wunsch up. And then I get up there. And, of course, now this is action for everybody that's down in the bullpen. They get to see stuff down there. So everybody's leaning over all the fence, rag arm. And
so,
I'm like,
talk about that. You had a different kind of pitching style, right? From most people.
Oh, yeah.
A rag arm.
Yeah, throw.
Yeah. I threw sidearm. So, that actually it's a whole other story, but that was kind of what led me to get off of the trajectory from being released to make it into the big leagues. But
all right, so you're warming up.
I started warming up, and I was missing the catcher by 6 to 8 feet at least.
Oh my God.
I'm literally just plastering it like, if there had been somebody standing up at the plate, they wouldn't have even had to flinch. I was missing the catcher by that far. But of course, all that did was get the fans that were leaning out, just put him in now, coach, put him in now. I'm like, no, I don't want to go in. And
I can hear Bob Euchre saying, "Just a bit outside."
Just a bit outside. Yeah. No, it was one of those. I'm just like, this is going to be the world's shortest major league career. And so they called me, and oddly, it's the second that gate opens, and you walk out across the warning track. There is, I don't know. It's a sort of a weird mental place that you go to that all of a sudden it's like all the voices sort of fade to just sort of a background roar, and it felt like the temperature was warmer. Everything was quieter. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And I get out there to the mound, and Coach, I'm still heart's pounding though. He hands me the baseball, and the last real freak out moment I had was I hope that I don't throw this first pitch to the backstop. That was the only concern. And when the first pitch went right down the middle, and I'm like, it just all of a sudden you just go right back to what you've been doing for thousands and thousands of times. I mean, it's a little bit like these Olympic skaters. As soon as they get done with their Olympic skate, they can go off and do some exhibition skate, never even think about stumbling, falling, or anything like that. It's just once you kind of get rid of that freak out, training takes over, and you just kind of go on autopilot. So who was it went well. I had three down, and
who was the first batter?
Rusty Greer.
Really? Okay.
Left-hander Rusty Greer.
Yeah.
And then, was it Palmero? Pudge Rodriguez was one of them.
I'll be darned.
There you go.
I think it was Rusty Greer, Rafael Palmero, and Pudge Rodriguez. I think it was those three.
Put you right into the heat. Yeah,
no kidding.
Awesome.
They did throw me in there. Yeah, but
very cool.
It fairly uneventful.
So you played for the White Sox for a while, and then the Dodgers for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so overall, your major league career was spanned how long? You were in and out with injuries.
6 seasons. 6 seasons. So the first 5 was with the White Sox, and 6th season was with the Dodgers.
But that's, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but in major league terms, that's a lifetime, right? I mean, that's
yeah. No, I mean, it's the average major league career length back when I was there. I have no idea what it's like now, but it was roughly 3 years. And of course, that includes all the guys that are just there for a cup of coffee, and then the other ones that have a 16-year career. So, you know, by lasting almost twice as long as average, it's never going to be long enough unless you're the person that says, I don't want to do this anymore. But unfortunately for 99.9% of us, at some point they say, no thanks. We're good. We don't need you anymore.
So I'm going to lead into a question, and I'm going to come back to something. So what you said there, as far as careers go, so to jump, I'm like telling the Kelly Wunsch life story here, but so when I met Kelly when our kids were playing baseball. We have our oldest sons are both the same age, and they played Little League baseball. And when we moved to Austin, that's where we met. We're at the same Little League baseball team, and Kelly was the coach. And fortunately for us, it just worked out great, right? So anyway, but we had those kids had a lot of fun. Your son, my son, and the team kind of went through 2 or 3 years there in the Little Leagues. And I remember when we went into the Little League World Series tournament, right? And we had the opportunity to play. It was the 3rd round, or it was regionals or something like that, and it was at Texas A&M, and it was in College Station, I should say. And because of Kelly's background, we were able to go. So this is if you ask Brock, this is probably the coolest moment of his Little League career. Going to the Aggie locker room, right? Seeing the field, all these 12-year-old kids sitting at this, amazing complex that's probably better than most major league fields. And they went into the locker rooms and the equipment centers and the cold tubs and all the stuff they had in there. And the coach came out and spoke to them and told them about what he teaches his players and the importance of education and all. You remember that little speech he gave? Talk about that a second. It's amazing.
Yeah. So the guy that did it is my old suite mate from college. So we were teammates. Yeah. Cute. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. We started the first month or so of college. We started out as mortal enemies. We got a big, massive fight within the first week. And we were oil and water initially, but anyway, we eventually grew to appreciate each other and really, got along well later in our A&M careers. But he's stayed at A&M. He had a brief professional career in the minor leagues and came back to A&M and is still coaching there today. And his primary job outside of game day responsibilities, like in the bullpen, is running the youth baseball clinics that A&M teaches. Nice. And he's really, really, really good at kind of setting, level setting for these kids and families to help them understand that, as fancy and cool as all this stuff is, even all these kids that are playing at Texas A&M, only a very small percentage of those will ever have a chance to even get paid to play. Well, now they've got a high percentage chance of getting paid in college, but you know what I mean? To play professional baseball, and then even, to make it to the big league, it's even smaller yet. So, really kind of, he has this, this sort of a good speech saved up about, keeping kids focused on what's most important. And,
because their study area was just as amazing as their locker room and the field itself. Right. And he said, we have this so that it's a safe place for the players to learn and do their homework and hang out with the good people and that sort of thing. Because I don't remember the math, but it was something like this, Kelly. All the little leaguers in the world, 0.01% of them ever make it to Division I baseball. 0.01% of Division I baseball players ever make it to the pro level, and only 0.01% of those ever make any money doing it. So the likelihood of you ever making it in baseball is pretty small, which is why we focus on school.
Yeah.
Right. So
exactly, and he's and not just school, but some of the things that baseball teaches you in terms of teamwork, stick to itness, or whatever you want to call it, persistence.
Yeah.
Because baseball is such inherently a game of failure, where the best players in the world are still failing 7 times out of 10 at the plate. So it is a psychologically just brutal sport. It's also a collection of individual performances in a team atmosphere, but those individual performances are highlighted for everybody there to see. So there's just a whole lot of pressure and stress.
It's hard to hide.
You can't hide. It's not like, lacrosse or soccer or something where, you may not be good and you can kind of run around on the side and look busy and nobody's really going to notice. But in a baseball game, they're going to see it.
I saw a lot of our little leaguers picking their nose out in the right field. They seem to do pretty good hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also,
they're the ones that end up being billionaires.
The numbers you just stated, Troy, I didn't realize how close I was to the major leagues.
Right?
Man.
You don't know how many people I know that would have been in the big leagues had their high school coach liked them.
Yeah. There's that
right,
too.
Just ask them.
That's
just
right.
ask them.
Well, and so many more that if they didn't have, felonies, and I'm just kidding.
Well, that's true. That is the truth. But no, I mean, that is the truth. And when you, and that's the thing, is you look at it, and part of it has to do with the reason that such a small percentage makes it. I played with lots of really talented guys in college and in professional baseball that, that had a great work ethic, treated their bodies well and everything like that, but ended up with injuries that shortcut their career. I mean, it's just, the luck of the draw. Sometimes if it's a single accident injury that hurts you, or it just, so if you're a pitcher and you genetically just don't have that strong of ligaments and tendons, or your mechanics that got you to where you are were great for getting you there, but the stress of the professional workload was just too much, and you end up flaming out. So there's all kinds of things. There's guys that were great but then had personal issues. They couldn't seem to give up a little bit of the nightlife in favor of being
That's
ready.
why I didn't make it.
Well, and it's partly, and a lot of that actually partly has something to do with their physical health. A lot of those guys broke down faster because they showed up to the field dehydrated and stuff like that. So it's there's a lot of that stuff that chips away at the or that shrinks the bottom of the funnel.
Something I always wanted to know. I don't think I've talked to very many professional sports players in general, but if I did, I never bothered to ask them this question. But so it's supposed to be extremely difficult, and you just explained that it is, and Troy shared the stats, to get into the MLB, NFL, all those. And somehow when I'm watching sports still, I'm still screaming at the screen like, of all the people, this is the guy. Like I'm watching my team, and I'm like, this is who made the cut.
There's only 12 people that can kick a football anymore in the whole
You
world.
couldn't find anybody better than that.
That's
Like
exactly.
So you see people. You just mentioned they fail 7 out of 10 times. I would argue it's probably more if it's my favorite player or team. But what happens to them? I mean, obviously they did really well.
I wish
I'm
my
sure
team failed 7 out of 10 times. Yep.
I'm sure they had the numbers, the statistics. So is it that much? You think it's more of a stress of being in professional sports that kind of takes them down a notch, humbles them, maybe?
No, it's not. I mean, honestly, it's if you've gotten to that point, you have learned to deal with failure and learn to deal with pressure and learn to handle that kind of, like, when you've got fans or whoever like criticizing and yelling at you, it's you shrug it off, because if that actually did affect you and you internalized that, you never would have made it to that level. So everybody that has made it to that level has
already known
pretty thick skin. Yeah. And even if you're struggling and your skin starts to get a little bit, you're slumping or having trouble or something like that, and your skin starts to get a little bit thinner, it doesn't take a whole lot of conscious thought to go, yeah, this dude would kill to be where I'm sitting right now. Right. So it's it really doesn't it doesn't, for the most part, like I said, once you get to that level, that's not even a thing. And I can say that one of the things it's done is help me for what I do now. It's like when we got clients that are upset at us for certain things, you kind of just shrug it off. It's like, you're upset because you don't know any better. You're upset because you could never do this on your own, even though you're pissed off at me right now. But I know that we are 1,000 times better at doing this than you are. So I'm okay. As long as I know that we've put a good effort in and that we can be proud of what we're doing, then go ahead. Just fire both barrels if you can. I mean, it's like, I'll absorb it and just walk off.
I should have went to the major leagues first, because I still take that personally.
Yeah, no, a lot of people do. That's why, like, when we have upset clients, I'm the guy that gets trotted out there, like, go talk to him, Kelly.
That's a good segue. So, all right, so you had your time. You have the something that's pretty special. Most people don't get to experience it. Again, that whole, so you have that adrenaline in front of a crowd. You have all that kind of exciting stuff going on, and then you go. And then all of a sudden they don't call your number anymore, right? So what with you, I know what you did, but so tell everybody what led up to what you're doing today? And, and tell us about your company.
Well, so like going back all the way to when I was in the minor leagues.
Did you meet Jessica in the minor leagues or the major leagues?
Yes, I met her when I was, it was my 3rd year in Beloit in low A ball. Okay,
so the minors weren't that bad then. There was some upside.
Well, yeah. This is my 3rd year in Beloit, Wisconsin, which a town of 30,000 on the southern border of Wisconsin, where it meets Illinois.
It's
not
awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, not exactly. But and matter of fact, the 3rd year that I went there, I think we were there for the very first day we got there. We're staying in the team hotel, and we went across the street to a gas station to go buy some beer. And the lady working at the register recognized me, goes, "Kelly, you're back again." And of course, the guys that are there with me just started laying all over me. Like, Wunsch is going to be mayor here. Like, I've been here so freaking long. 3rd year in low A ball is definitely not something to brag about. So, in fact, I set a record. I set I don't know if it was a Brewers record or a Midwest League record think it was a Midwest League record at the time for number of losses. I had the highest number of losses. Like most people who weren't first round draft picks would have been released long before you can accumulate the number of losses that I did at that level.
I love that. And the thing is, you can't have a lot of wins. You can't rack up a lot of wins, because if you're winning, they're gonna move you up. So
exactly, yeah, that's exactly how. I mean,
right.
you nailed it. It's difficult to do.
So did you meet Jessica at the gas station?
No. I met her at church, or at a volunteer organization thing called the Pitcher's Mound on Double Bubble Night.
That is sweet.
There was a bar that we used to basically live at when we were on the baseball field below. It was called the Pitcher's Mound.
Like it.
Yeah, and basically met her at the dartboard. So she was her uncle, who's only 6 weeks older than her, was one of my teammates, and she was in town visiting. And so,
do you ever tell her just on the side that if you were a better pitcher, that you probably wouldn't have married her?
She knows better than that. She was, to her credit, she stuck with me, because I remember one off season, maybe it was a couple of years before I made the big leagues. I came into my bedroom and I saw all this paperwork was sitting on my nightstand. Picked it up and looked at it. I'm like, what? Why is all this? It was all from Texas A&M. It was enrollment papers, and stuff like that. What is this? She's like, well, it doesn't seem like baseball's going all that well for you.
I thought you were going to say it was a bunch of job applications.
It might be. No, I mean, the point was, it's time to go back and finish your degree, because baseball is clearly not your thing.
And you said, just give me 10 more years. I need 10 more years. Then I'll do it.
Yeah.
All right. So all of that, and now so you transition. You own a construction firm today. You got into the blue collar space, right? So how did all that happen? That's not a natural transition for everybody, right? So, and before we get there, so you went, you coach baseball. You still play baseball. I think even I saw you pitch the winning game for the men's over 50 tournament last summer.
Over 50. Come on, man. That's like playing on kid level.
He was the old man on the young man's league.
Yeah.
He was a starting pitcher during. It was fun to watch. Because I'd never seen you pitch in real life.
I love
it. I know. You still really haven't seen me. I mean, I sit there and look.
Is that softball?
Yeah, exactly.
Slow pitch.
Softball,
what softball? Men's league?
No.
It's we play fastball, like hardball, just like regular baseball. Yeah. It's not as fast as it used to be.
Not as fast. It's more
it's moderately firm ball.
Not a lot of stolen bases and hit and runs. It's more of a hit and try.
Yeah. No, we try to avoid pulled hamstrings. The team was
mostly 20 and 20-year-olds, right? Yeah. Kelly was just the old guy on the team.
Yeah, our average age is probably high 20s.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Marissa, you should come to a game. Marissa, I don't know if you know this, Kelly, but Marissa is single and she's looking for a date. That's the only reason she's on the show.
Right.
So, okay. Well,
I might come to the baseball games.
What's that?
I'll come watch one of the baseball games. There's
30s. There's a lot of single dudes on there.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go, Marissa.
Based on your type, though, Marissa, I think you're better off going to a bunch of softball games. That's where the real blue collar guys go.
Yeah. Definitely more blue collar. They know how to use a tape measure.
We play softball with pocket knives in our pocket. So.
All right, we keep touching on the Capital Construction Company.
Yeah.
So where did this? Did you wake up one day? Was this a premonition?
Well, it kind of the sort of aptitude started growing up. We're not a wealthy family, and so anything that we did to our house. It was like my dad did. He did all the work, and my brother and I helped. And so, he had a workshop out in the back of our house that he'd fix things that broke, and I don't know, just kind of getting raised in that environment gave me the aptitude, and it helped develop my love for working with my hands and that kind of stuff. I had actually wanted to be an architect out of high school, but I was convinced by an architect who was my uncle at the time that no way you want to be an architect, kid. It's brutal. It's not what you think it is. He was like all disgruntled and jaded at this point and just totally rained all over my parade. So I'm like, all right, so I'll do something else. So I majored in engineering.
Yeah, I guess I'll go pitch in the major leagues.
Yeah. So I did engineering instead, and I've to this day I regret not just doing architecture. But anyway, when I was in the minor leagues, that was in the era when all of these flipping shows were on HGTV and stuff like that. And I was just all jazzed up watching this stuff. I'm like, I can't wait to be done with baseball so I can start doing all this flipping houses, property ladder stuff. I was just going to be, the next titan of real estate. And when it actually came time to when I retired, where the rubber meets the road, I'm like, I don't have any sort of professional experience in this. Yes, I have an aptitude for doing things with my hands, and I've done a lot of home building type things with my hands, but have never professionally had a house built all the way through. And so I was reluctant to jump into that kind of real estate investing, and started initially was trying to get a job in medical device sales. And I had gotten to the very end, or the very last interview, on a couple of really good jobs, but ended up not getting them because I hadn't finished my college degree and I had no experience in sales, which was like, if I could have checked one of those boxes, they said they'd have hired me at the time. And then right around that time, I had a cousin by marriage who I knew was a divisional president for Lennar Homes at the time. Yeah. And I figured, you know what, let me just call up Russell and see what it's like in the home building industry in Austin. Where would I get the experience for learning to do some of this stuff? And he said, man, let's have lunch. And I'll talk to you about it. And at lunch, he's like, hey, I'm about to quit my job at Lennar. Do you want to partner up and build custom homes in Central Austin? I'm like, yes, I do. So we partnered up for a couple of years. And of course, the first year was great. The second year was when the house financing crisis hit. Gas was $4 something a gallon, homes just, everybody was defaulting on mortgages. Everything went to hell. Couldn't get loans to build spec homes at the time. And so Russell, my partner, decided he's out. He had family issues that he had to deal with. And so I just, through a lot of encouragement and, you can do it from my wife, I decided to go ahead and keep doing what I was doing, and been doing it ever since. So
interesting.
So go ahead, Jim.
No, I was just going to say that. So from when you started to where you're at now, I mean, how much growth have you seen? How many employees do you have? How many homes are you building now? And do you do just new construction, or do you do remodels? What kind of work is it?
So when I started, it was literally just me working out of my office at home and out of my truck. I didn't have any superintendents or project managers. It was just me, truck full of tools and tile and all kinds of crap, because I was also the interior designer on the spec homes that I was building.
You need a tile guy? There's one on the call.
Right here. So I was doing that, and I was able to kind of do a cycle time of one every 12 to 14 months for a few years, and things were great. Um, I was able to, I was doing well on each one, but not well enough that um, if a project sat unsold for 6 months, that I wouldn't be like seriously clinching at the end of that 6 months, and being forced in a situation itself, take a hit on something. And so I started trying to pursue more custom work so that I could have somebody else's money involved, and kind of smooth out the peaks and valleys of the income. And of course, as soon as I did that, I realized what it's like to actually be a home builder, because until you have clients, you don't know what it's like. I just got quickly overwhelmed in terms of like trying to keep up with finances, run the projects, deal with homeowners, do all that communication and everything like that. So eventually hired a superintendent, had one for several years, and then he got picked off by a home builder, got paid a whole lot more money. And so while I was trying to hire a new one, another guy who is now my business partner with this company, lives in the same neighborhood. He's a home builder just like me. We found out we were trying to hire the same guy, and that ultimately neither of us could even come close to paying as much as the dude was eventually got. So through some further discussion, we decided to go ahead and partner up. That was in 2016, pool resources and be able to hire a good project manager, which we did. And then we have been working together since then. At one point during COVID, we expanded to 7 employees, which was way too much expansion, or it's probably not necessarily way too much. I mean, we needed the bodies, but growing that fast was extraordinarily difficult in terms of processes and procedures, to try to really make good, efficient use of that extra labor. In hindsight, we wasted a boatload of money on guys that just were operating at really low efficiency. And then ultimately, once the big glut of jobs that we had like 11 or 12 custom homes going on at any given time for 2 or 3 years during COVID, which is just outrageous. And when you're talking about custom homes, truly custom homes like what we're doing, but once we got past all of those, we let everybody but now we have 2 project managers now, and so now it's just 4 of us, and that feels right to us. At some point, if we were able to start cracking into the higher echelon of jobs, to where right now the houses that we're doing are kind of in the $600 to $1,000 square foot range, but if we can bang our way up into that $1,200 to $1,500 square foot range, that's going to provide a lot of extra cash flow for us to kind of beef up our staff and allow Ethan and I to maybe spend more time steering the company instead of working in the company, instead of working in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now.
When you say 7, was it 7? The number 7 for employees was the wrong number, or was it just those particular 7 employees were inefficient, or was it just?
Yes.
The number 7.
There you go.
It was the people.
No, I mean, so if I feel like if we had a really well established organization, procedures and everything going into that hiring phase, that we would have been able to really do a much better job of sort of directing their talents in the right way. But as it was, we did a lot of, explaining what we wanted and then turning them loose, gave them a lot of autonomy. And so then they started kind of falling back into previously comfortable roles. Like we hired one guy who had been a really high-end project manager for a long time. We hired him to be our construction manager to basically supervise our project managers and, kind of help smooth the road out in front of them. But he could not get away from being a project manager. And so we had, on every job, we had 2 project managers. One was getting paid way too much to be a project manager. Yeah. So there was just stuff like that. We had an architectural coordinator, a guy who was an architect, who also had a lot of experience building. And ultimately, I don't know what he did. That was the most inefficient dude on the planet. That was one of those. It's like, I love the guy, but that when it came time to let him go, it was a little bit more sweet than bittersweet.
So you deal now with, so you have your team, and obviously you're not out there cutting wood and hanging drywall. So you use primarily subcontractors, right?
100%.
What's harder, dealing with subcontractors or customers?
Customers.
Really?
Yeah. Customers. 1,000%.
What do you like best about your customers?
You want the truth? You want the honest answer?
Yeah,
of course.
Their money.
America wants to know.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
No, I mean, what I like most about working with custom clients. So this is, truthfully, what I like about that custom construction that I don't get to have with like spec homes and stuff like that is I love like helping to counsel people into like, don't spend your money on that. Okay. Helping them like recognize issues with their floor plans. Hey guys, this is we have a lot of experience with. This is going to look great, but it's going to be a pain in the ass to live with. Or, this space that you have like decorated in your mind, that's going to be like this, you're going to see it in all your scrapbooks. Nobody's ever going in that space. You know what I mean? It's a complete waste of space.
Yeah.
Or like, for instance, we're building a 6,500 square foot house right now, and love these clients, but they're European and they're not used to like shopping at Costco. They're used to shopping at little groceries. They're Italian, so for a 6,500 square foot house, they've got about 8 square feet of a pantry. So like, just slightly larger.
The refrigerators are this big and everything is tiny. So
slightly larger than a brick closet, but we got 3 sets of washer and dryers. So,
crazy.
Just bring one of those 100 packs of toilet paper over and say, find a place for this, and then call me back.
Yeah. So anyway, cool. I enjoy that part of it. I love, like I said, kind of helping people. Like, again, that's me who wanted to be the architect. I like being able to help coach and guide them, and kind of translate the architect speak to them, and also the other way around. When I like to be their advocate to the architects. The architects are going to do what they want to do. They like being artists. They like being creative. And they don't like having to deal with realities like gravity, budgets, all of those things. And so I have to be an advocate for our clients, and a lot of times with the architects, which I do. Like I said, I do get a lot of enjoyment out of that. What's frustrating is just the constant, banging your head against a wall. Yeah, this is what I I want this, but I don't want to pay for it. That type of deal. And, this is taking too long. Like you said, what's easier? Yeah, subcontractors are a pain in the ass too, but I'm used to working with subcontractors. I know how they're going to work. I know to expect it. I don't, like, my blood pressure doesn't spike when
there's
they
no
ghost
surprises.
us. Yes, exactly. But that kind of stuff really, really, really affects, especially some of the high net worth type of people that we work with, who are used to working directly with highly professional people who are where they say they're going to be, and things are predictable and stuff like that. But when it comes to custom construction, especially when it's like remodels, it's you just have to be able to have that sort of low heart rate, and most people don't have it.
Yeah. How do you think the majors, playing in baseball in general, but playing at the major league level, maybe you don't think about it much, but maybe you do, I don't know. So how does that help you or hurt you in this field? I assume there's takeaways that help you work in the blue collar space, right? Because baseball in and of itself is kind of like that. You grind it out, work hard, get out of it what you put into it, right?
100%. Well, so exactly what I was just saying, the low heart rate, being able to tolerate that on a daily basis, and just, kind of understand that that's part of it. And, you spill some milk or break a glass, you don't throw a fit and, say the world's coming in, you grab the broom and the mop, and you get another glass. I mean, and that's, it's something that, you always know that tomorrow could be a better day. You get your ass handed to you. You get knocked out of the game, give up a couple of runs today. Well, tomorrow I might come in and strike out the side with the game on the line. So there's, I think that sort of attitude, has stuck with me, and it's what allows me to continue to do this day after day when there are long periods of a lot of frustration. That and just working hard and continuing to do it. Like, you just, like, if something needs to be done, you just do it because, it's what you signed up to do. It's your job.
How do you see this world changing? So with AI, and I don't know how much that impacts your world or where you see it going, but where do you see the construction space? When are we there's always the ups and downs. So where is it today, and what's it gonna look like any different 10 years from now? I mean, housing market, kids buying homes, all of it seems a little different than it was when we were at 25 years old, right? What do you think? Is it going to be just apartment buildings and condos, or what are we going to have?
And if we can't figure out some way to get, housing prices kind of into the affordable range, especially in Austin, and it's not like we've got to necessarily like bring prices down in the highest end portions of the city, but the problem is even in the suburbs now, the prices have drifted upwards to the point where all of our trades either have to live in Maine or Liberty, blanking on it. Liberty Hill. They live so far away because that's like the closest place they can afford to live, or they live closer in, but they need to make more money, and so they charge us more money. And then it's just like this spiraling cycle. Housing prices are high, so the labor gets more expensive, which creates higher housing prices. So there's got to be something that we can do to kind of tamp down on that a little bit. I mean, part of it has to do with just because Austin is desirable and there are that many people that keep moving in day to day. I feel for the younger generation now that has got to put together enough money to for a down payment and mortgage payments on just not even big houses right now in Austin. It's a struggle. Yeah. But I will say, as far as AI goes, Troy, in construction, we can see it maybe helping us out on the back end, sort of administratively, with, with budgeting, estimating, scheduling, and of course, there's always, communications and stuff like that.
What about like CAD work and that sort of thing when you're putting together the concepts?
So that's the interesting part to me, is the people that probably need to be, have their head up, is architects and designers. If I was a young architect,
they probably feel like it's eliminating their work, right? So
I might be in a bit of a pucker at the moment. Like understanding that it can't be that far away before you can have AI putting together floor plans. It's about if somebody can set up a GPT that that has all of the parameters that have to be considered when designing a house or building a house. To me, it's just a matter of time. I mean, what they can do with videos and all the generative things that AI does, I don't know how. Frankly, I'm shocked that it hasn't already started happening.
Yeah.
When it comes to actual construction,
are you saying that you're going to start this today?
Yeah, I would love to. I can tell you, I actually spent. I got on a big kick when I first kind of started getting some like contact and experience with ChatGPT. I'm like, this is amazing. There's so many different things. If I could teach it how to like budget, like I wanted to be able to long story. I wanted to help it for budgeting and some of the back end stuff and advertising and things like that. And so I dug in and was learning about the different software packages that you can use with AI and figure out how to do this. And I mean, I learned just enough to be frustrated that I didn't have enough time.
It's still
to,
never.
Yeah. But, I mean, I've got like folders and folders and folders on my computer full of like sort of initial attempts to try to get this working with this. And, it was like me trying to build.
Are better at certain things for sure. Right.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, I felt like I was trying to build a combustion engine with a pile of aluminum cans and, and a can of gas. And that's where it's sitting, is in my.
Well, that sounds like fun, computer. Actually. We should do that.
Yeah.
All right. So you got kids. When you've been working, you're still with, you still do a little bit with youth baseball, not as much as you used to, right? But when you think about these kids getting into, these 12-year-old little leaguers that want to play baseball but want to grow up and do something else, the whole college is a scam. Get into this, do a trade, do this, that, the other thing. So, and just the sheer number of, especially boys that are going to YouTube high school or YouTube college, right? Where do you see that going? What do you tell the young folks?
Yeah.
What's the advice? Kelly wisdom to 17-year-old kids.
So I think what's likely to happen, at least to some extent, is the hyper specialization of college degrees is going to start kind of being less important. And this is what I would tell my 17-year-old self, unless you plan to want to get a job as an engineer at Boeing, don't major in aerospace engineering. If you want to get a job in computers, fine, take some coding classes, like minor in computer, but major in business. Find something that like you can minor in that you enjoy, but your primary focus should be on, just business. Something is just general, some kind of a general studies type, business, sports management. If you happen to be interested in sports, because it gives you such a broader background of knowledge that can be applied to a ton of different industries. Whereas, like, if you become if you're an electrical engineer or a computer engineer, to where you're spending all this time hyper specializing on things that could conceivably get replaced by AI, you're going to find yourself like a very unrounded person with way less of an ability to shift to as certain industries kind of get squozed down by AI, like your ability to shift over into something that is, the AI isn't taking over, is going to be a lot more restricted. I mean, it's, you guys know as well as I do, it's like once you get that first college job or a job straight out of college, like nobody cares what your major ever was. It was like the only time they even care is if it's if it is a hyper specialized major. If you're getting hired as a developer at Facebook or something, they're going to want a computer engineer major. Or if you're an aerospace guy wanting to get a job at Lockheed Martin, you kind of need to be an aerospace major. But like after that, your work experience is going to be the primary attractant to whoever it is that's hiring you. And as long as you have that box ticked, that check mark in a box, like when I was interviewing for those sales jobs, if I'd had that box ticked, it didn't matter that I had a mechanical engineering degree. If I just had kinesiology degree, I'd have gotten the job.
As long as you had some sales. Yeah. As long as you sold something. Yeah.
Well, no, it was either or. It was having, as they said, we don't care if you sold vacuums for a few months, or if your degree was in underwater basket weaving. If you had either of those two, we would have hired you.
Yeah. So to build on this, so I don't know if this is the segue into that you still want to go back and get that sales job at that, because you're finishing your degree as we speak, right?
Yeah. That's it's far. I mean, it has nothing to do with professional aspirations or anything like that. It's just one of those deals that, as my sons, like my oldest just graduated from A&M a year ago. My wife's got more degrees than a thermometer. And it's one of those deals, I'm just kind of sitting around. I was frustrated because I actually did, when I retired from baseball, it was the first thing I wanted to do. And first thing I looked into was trying to finish up my degree. But by that time I had been out of college for, 12 years. And, the course catalog that I had been working off of was long since extinct. They didn't offer any online courses. I would have had to move from Austin to College Station and enroll in person in school. And I had young kids at that time, starting school here in Austin, and it just wasn't going to happen.
I was going to say, you could have just went to UT,
Yeah.
There's nothing an Aggie loves more than going to Texas. So.
Yeah. I also could have just laid down on a railroad track too, and that would have solved that problem. But just as attractive.
But it's pretty cool. So you went to A&M and said, "Hey, I want to finish my degree." But because of where you came from and what you did when you were there, what'd they do for you?
Oh, I'm on full ride scholarship, baby.
Oh my God!
53-year-old athlete. 53-year-old on an athletic scholarship.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it's pretty great, and they have been so amazing. The just like literally rolling the red carpet out for me in terms of just making it like, my God, dude, the infrastructure that they have now for supporting their student athletes is insane. I mean, it was already pretty great when I was in school, but like the amount of money that they're throwing at it right now is just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And I still got to do the work, and it's like you can see some extra bags under my eyes because I went to bed at almost 1:00 last night because I was busy writing a paper and doing like having to post on some discussion group.
Well, you still have some eligibility for some NIL money.
Yeah.
Apparently, it doesn't matter if I got paid already.
Throwing that sidearm hook. Throwing that sidearm hook is probably
I've seen it, Jim.
$10 or $15,000 NIL money.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, close to the sound barrier. If I was throwing off of a jet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so you're teaching the kids. You're working with. You got a good thing going with your business. What's next? When are you going to retire? What's that look like? You got plans? Man.
No plans as of yet. No. Thankfully, I've got some. I do have a pretty nice retirement or pension through Major League Baseball that will max out when I'm 62. So that's 9 years from now. I expect I'm done, regardless of what's going on. I don't know. I'm not going to be. I know you're the same way, Troy. You got ants in your pants, and you could never just like fully retire. I don't know. I think I could find a lot of things to do that didn't require that I have to have responsibility. But I don't see me being just hitting the golf course or something.
You don't even like golf.
Yeah, I hate golf. I know.
He'll just keep playing with he'll get to that 50 and older league yet, Kelly.
Eventually I will. When I'm 70. Yeah.
All right. So I remember. So when we all went out not that long ago, you told me. So this is my last question. You told me a story that said, and I said you need to tell that story on the podcast. Do you remember? You have no idea what I'm talking about. I should have teed you up to go because that would have been a good story. But it was something super dumb, and I loved it. So think about that. But anybody, I'll go around the horn. Marissa, any final questions for Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, so one, I have two. One, I'm just going to ask everyone, so what's your favorite tool? And then my second one is, so in school, do you ever ask for help or text Troy, like, hey, what's this answer? What should I write in this paper?
Ooh,
or use ChatGPT or anything?
I know the answer to number two. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you say? Or do I use ChatGPT? I think that is my number one classmate study guide.
All right, what's your favorite tool and who do you cheat with?
So
yeah.
It's so online classes. They some of the teachers actually force you to. That's one of the things I was doing last night is every week. It seems like the online classes want you to post into a class discussion group. And not only do you have to post, you have to respond to people. I know, they're so stupid. And then you have to exactly. And nobody even reads the reply to their own posts. But it's funny because the classes that they've put me in, I swear to God, it's half the football team, half the A&M football team is in those classes. So I was Marcel Reed, all these big names are in my classes. And, of course, nobody's I read what they write, and some of them you could tell are heavy into the ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And some of them you can see just ChatGPT is that seems like too much work. I'm just gonna fire some stuff down, but yeah, no, ChatGPT for a college student is, golly, it's an insane tool, and it's not just the fact that it can write for you in classes that have a lot of writing. And I should say a big caveat: you can't just have it write papers for you, because honestly, it's not that good.
Right.
It sucks. You can, like, I could look through and
It's like to
see.
start for ideas. That's about it.
I could pick out a ChatGPT paper
Absolutely.
in like 2 seconds flat.
It's kind of like a ChatGPT resume.
It looks and feels and sounds like a paper. What's that? What's that?
I said it helps me with my third grader's homework. Sometimes she asks me for help, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't even know what to ask.
That part is absolutely great. So what it does help do, that's, I mean, two things. I mean, it helps check for, I haven't turned in a paper with a spelling mistake or a grammar error in a while. But what's great about it that I found is that you can get it to help you, like, research. It's like, I had to write a paper on the psychology of orientations for volunteer organizations. And, you ask ChatGPT, it's like, I need you to help me find some articles that reference the psychological impact of this part of orientation. And it fired me up some links and says, here, blah, 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 blah. And even sends me to relevant chapters, and you gotta just go through it. It's like, all right, cool. And, you use it to organize your thoughts, like to help, like form an outline for the paper. But then, like, once you've got the structure for it and you've got the research for it, then if you're not, like, heavily writing that thing on your own, they're gonna know. It's so obvious.
But on top of that, so you had last semester, you had a project of which you got an A+ on. Talk more about that.
You're talking about the go-kart one?
No, the one that I had to do for you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
If Troy did something from you, you would get it from ChatGPT, buddy.
Should I probably? That's right. I haven't even sent you that link. Yeah, I was.
You interviewed. Yeah,
I interviewed Troy as somebody that I highly admired, that I aspired to be like.
Yes.
And just talking about his style of leadership and stuff like that. And of course, it's funny because when you hear Troy on a personal level, like, when we're not talking about business, like, he doesn't, like, you drift into your, like, business speak, like, boom. And it's like, you go, like, full on, you sound like TED Talk at times, where it's just like, holy shit, it sounds like you wrote a book on
I was just reading it from ChatGPT.
Leadership.
That's exactly right.
Well, I mean, it's, like I said, to your credit, it's just like it's like, all right, so, like, you've been living this stuff for a long time, and you can see how much success you've had as a result.
Well, I was just looking for a tip of the cap for the A+.
I'm not. Yeah, I know you're not begging for it, but that's why, I mean, immediately when it said, like, the assignment was to, find somebody who, a leader that running a business, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's like, find somebody that exemplifies these type of characteristics. I'm like, dude, I can, like, Troy ought to be great. This ought to be an easy interview. And of course it was.
And thank you for that. I appreciate it. But Marissa, so one of the themes here too is we all have our favorite tool, and keep it PG-13 if you don't mind. But what's your favorite tool?
Yeah, Kelly.
Oh man. Oh my goodness.
Chad.
What's
Yes. Yeah, I already know his.
Answer. What is it?
Yeah, what's yours? If you could have only one tool, this is like Naked and Afraid. You can only bring one tool to the island. What are you going to bring? Chad's is a tile saw. So just so you know, Marissa got a new tape measure. So we're not that fancy. But what's yours,
So
Kelly?
what is yours, Kelly?
What's your favorite tool you couldn't leave home without?
You just love it so much.
Cordless drill. Got one in my truck right now. It lives underneath my back seat. I don't care if I'm doing anything. I've got one under my back seat. Yeah.
Anytime I ever drill anything, I drill it and then I hold it up and blow it like it's and then put it back in my holster.
Nice.
Every time.
Yeah.
You have to do it every single time. All right, Jim, what you got? One more question.
So Kelly, you obviously very successful in baseball and now in your career. Looking back, what would you have done different? If you could have done one thing different, what would you have done?
That's a really, really good question. Really, 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 really good question.
Want me to show you this?
I will admit to there being plenty of days where, owning a business sucks, because you can't ever turn it off. Like the idea of like clocking in and clocking out is like, as much as that would remind me of like being in high school, it's like there's some real sort of like has some ring to it every now and again. I'm like, the idea of just like the second it turns 5 o'clock, I'm gone. I turn it all off and can be 100% present with friends and family and stuff.
Right.
That's enviable.
Boring.
I think I would have struggled with that in the long run. I think I would have at some point probably would have enjoyed it, but I know I probably would. I would have struggled having to do it just day after day after day after day after day. But I don't know. I think if I had to, just knowing what the path that I chose, like in this industry, I would have majored in business all day, every day, as opposed to mechanical engineering. Again, that's like hyper specialized, and if I didn't, end up going into that field, I'm like, what's the point? I did a whole boatload of calculus for no good reason.
Right, and I think that happens a lot with kids going to college. They get buttonholed into some specialty that they think is great at the time, but it's going to turn out to be, Applebee's.
Russian art history. Kelly, I thought you were going to say this day.
No. The only thing I regret is there hasn't been more days like that.
Chad?
Yeah, so Troy asked you earlier about college, and it comes up a lot on this show where we go through college and everybody has, I guess we're all on the same page, and you gave some really good advice, and I agree with you. But for everybody that's watching, there's going to be 50-60% of these people that are just going to go, those just aren't options for me for whatever reason. But do you think there's a path to success for those people? And I don't just mean surviving and making ends meet. I mean real success in the trades, actually doing the trade.
Are you kidding me? Our freaking plumber drives way nicer truck than I do. A plumber or framer a framer probably drives $100,000 F-250. You can seriously. I know a handful of guys who own electrical companies, plumbing companies. If you learn the business, and that's where just having a classical higher education, for me, like mechanical engineering, it didn't teach me anything about running a home building business, and I did it wrong for a long time. It's only been the last sort of several years where I kind of feel like we're headed the right direction, where we've learned, and it doesn't feel like we're just like bumping around in the dark. It kind of feels like we know what we're doing, which is a lot less stressful. in some ways it's more stressful because you learn to recognize the things that you need to be concerned about. But in other ways, again, this is where like I translate it back to baseball. As long as I know what I need to do and what metrics I'm measured by, I can hammer that out all day, every day. It's just when you don't know what you're doing, that's what gets uncomfortable. And that's where you talk about trades, the potential for making an extraordinarily handsome living. And Troy, you told me about one guy in our interview that you kind of mentored that is just absolutely killing it, like multi-million-dollar, tens of millions of dollar businesses that they sell by the time they're 50 and ride off in the sunset with their private planes and stuff like that. And that's purely the ones that did it right, had the business side of it down, figured it out. Either they were taught by the right people, or they just sort of had a knack for it and sort of felt their way into it and just happened to have the right feel for it. The potential for making money is just it's outstanding.
Well, I'm glad you said that rather than saying half of our audience is doomed. And the other side of it is I think we're fully protected from AI, because I know
1,000%.
earlier Troy probably wanted you to say we were going to have robots putting in water heaters, like he says on every single show, just to get.
No, I said cutting your grass.
No. Start out with water heaters.
Yeah.
We were satisfied with cutting grass, and that's as far as
the
it goes.
robot's going to bring me water, not replace the water heater.
Yeah, like those 3D printed houses. I mean, they're still just an incredible novelty. That they're. As a matter of fact, I think the Icon Village that they had out here in the Austin area, they had started building a whole neighborhood full of those 3D printed houses, right. And it ended up petering out, and like nothing's really going on in that. People don't really want to live in something that looks like it was pooped out by a wasp. So it's
right, yeah.
I mean, the fact that you've got that AI is not going to be able to do a trade's work. I mean, there's built-in livelihood for a lot of years from here on out. In fact, you're going to see a huge portion of college graduates that graduate with all this debt that they're whatever they majored in is just kind of going to be like, useless.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do is, if we see any AI plumbers starting to show up around the neighborhoods, we'll get your old man's cannon and just take them out one at a time. Bam.
There you go.
That'd be fun.
Frontier justice.
I'm looking forward to when you can help us shoot that cannon. This is a cannon that, by the way, that's designed to shoot. Like I said, it's bored. It's sized to shoot frozen orange juice concentrate cans, which would be really, really dangerous, just because of the weight of the things. But what they've done ever since I was a kid is they jam that thing full of black powder and toilet paper, and jam it tight to where this toilet paper forms almost kind of a wooden plug in there, and they light that thing off, and it blasts out flaming toilet paper like 30, 40 yards in some cases.
That's awesome.
They lit the house across the street, lit the roof on fire with flaming toilet paper one New Year's Eve when I was a little kid. Of course, a bunch of drunk dudes are like climbing over the fence, like trying to hose off the neighbor's house with a garden hose. We had cops knocking on our doors, poking my dad in the chest. Don't make me come in here again. It's like, did somebody, fire off a bomb or something? Or my dad's like, I don't know anything about it. Meanwhile, they shot it in the yard and then picked it up and carried it through the house and like stuck it in my parents' bedroom, and you could smell the sulfur from the gunpowder that was just wafting through the house. He opened the door on the cop, and you know damn well that cop was just like, oh, yeah, it's good times.
Give me a can of beans, and I could make that happen without a can.
The best part of that is 5 minutes ago I asked you what your biggest regret was. That never came up.
Well, remember, I was a little kid at the time. I've heard all the stories. I've seen part of it, but yeah, I've heard the stories. I do remember being outside that New Year's when they caught the neighbor's house on fire.
That's awesome.
Oh my God.
All right. So give us a plug for Capital Construction.
All right. Well, we are a luxury custom home builder based here in Central Austin. Primarily, our work is in the Central Austin area, but we'll go out to the near suburbs if the project is right. We do anything from a kind of a full, like a kitchen remodel or master bathroom remodel, all the way up to new construction. Anything from kind of $150,000 to $4.5 million at this point. So kind of a wide range of things. We just kind of try to keep our work relatively small area so that we don't spend a lot of windshield time, and we can spend more time on our projects. But our what we like doing is, and even though they're a pain in the butt, is we love working with high-end architects because, for us, building a house is far more than just kind of a widget. It's like, that's why we're not in production building. It's not just a spreadsheet deal. We love the actual, the active building. We like the project-based aspect of it. Ethan and I are both kind of want to be architects, and so we kind of get to live vicariously through the architect's eyes when we're getting to build some of these really cool and unique houses. So that's what we strive to get, and that's what we're pushing as far as we can, or as hard as we can, to get more of that type of work. That's what we do.
Very nice.
And you do a good job of it. I've seen some of your homes. I see, including the one that you live in, and it's they're very, very nice. They are luxury, high-end, well-built homes, well thought out. Your house doesn't have 1 square inch of space that isn't usable. So
that's true. That's true. I'd love another shot at building my house again, though. Man, I'm way better than I was when I built that one.
Well, my dad was a carpenter too, and he said it's just wood. So go get your hammer, and before Jessica gets home from
it's wood
work,
that Jessica lives in is the problem. She is not the type of person to want to move. You know that.
All you have to do is tear out one wall.
That's it. Yeah.
And then you tell her, I got to fix it now.
Yeah.
So,
this was in the wrong place.
Somebody who is ADHD, ants in her pants, like hair on fire as my wife is, like 24/7. You think that she would be like the type of person that would be like ready to move every 2 years? She's like the absolute opposite. Like she started, it's funny, when we first met, she was like the biggest extrovert. And like now it's like, as soon as she gets home, the lights go off. That's all you see. Is
she's
like
one of these people that she's either 100 miles an hour or 0 miles an hour.
Or 0.0. Exactly.
All right. I love you, buddy. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yes. Anytime.